It's 2023, the start of a new year, but 2022 was a return to community events, and the year was filled with them in White Bear Lake. We'll look back at some of the stories that have us looking forward to the future.
I'm Kurt Friesen.
I'm Tracy and Kurt. We've been granted mercy once again as we enjoy the warmth of SCC Studios here in White Bear Lake.
It's good to be here with you. How was your holidays?
Holidays were good. How were yours?
Good, good. Did you have to work?
I did have to work some of it, but I did take some time off and got to spend some with family. You?
Yeah, it was good. It was. It's always a busy time, so
yes.
It's busy, but it's fun. Anything else exciting over the holiday week?
Nope.
No?
No,
Okay.
just work and some time off, and now we're back to work again.
Here we go.
And busy, right? And
Absolutely.
now it's the start of everything, and then we get into warmer weather, and suddenly we're back out in the community. So it's just go, 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 right?
It seems like every year is going a little faster.
I know. And you have more events, too.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
We began 2022 with some new faces around City Hall, including Lindy Crawford, who became the city manager after Ellen Heinecker retired. Producer Mary Klein got a chance to talk with her early on, and here's what Crawford had to say about her new role.
It's been wonderful. Everyone in the community and in the organization and City Council has been very welcoming.
As Morris City Administrator and Public Utilities Manager for more than 3.5 years,
Is that when we had a fire on your birthday?
Lindy Crawford wasn't looking for a change.
It's got wonderful bones.
Yet when she saw White Bear Lake was hiring after Ellen Heinecker announced her retirement, she recognized she'd found a good thing. She applied and was hired from a pool of 33 applicants.
Saw that White Bear had come up and know that it's a wonderful place to work and has a very good line of city managers, and they've been here for a while, so knew that the organization must be doing something right.
Crawford, with her parents by her side, was sworn in as city manager during January 11th City Council meeting.
It's about mutual respect, and that's something that this council has always had. So really, I just want to, build on that. I don't know if there's anything I want to come in and change at this point, but just continue to make White Bear and as the best community it can be.
A new mayor was elected to council, and in this next segment, we find out why he loves the city he now governs.
I got into this race, quite frankly, because I was asked by certain members of the community that I respect. Didn't have a lot of time to think about it. In fact, I filed for running for mayor 90 minutes before the close of the filing deadline. Most of the business owners don't have grand plans to, triple or quadruple their scale in business. They're not looking to scale up and then move outside the city. They recognize the value of what this downtown has and what the surrounding communities are able to provide by way of customers and loyal customers at that. So we're certainly the benefactors of this quaint downtown and have for years, and hopefully we'll continue to do so for years to come. I'm trying to do my part to help preserve and shape the city that I want it to be, because I plan to continue to live here and want to raise my family here. It's the only place I've ever called home, and I'm darn proud of that.
So you and I have a lot of combined experience working in public safety, but we haven't experienced what the young firefighter in our next story, just a short time into his firefighting career, has. Take a look.
You can almost say it's genetics. My grandfather was a firefighter, my father was a firefighter, and I've always wanted to be a firefighter.
Since firefighter Ryan Snyder remembers remembering, was showing signs of what was to come.
I have a photo hanging on my wall from when I was like 2, in a firefighter costume that I would not take off.
As a Roseville Fire Explorer, he got more exposure to the job, eventually becoming a full-time firefighter paramedic for White Bear Lake last year.
When I first had my career decision of I want to be a firefighter, it was fight fire, I'm going to save people's lives, and now it's a lot of firefighting, especially here at White Bear. We do a lot of medical calls, but you might argue that those medical calls can sometimes be even more important than the fire calls.
For someone so new, he was called to provide a service some firefighters never will in their careers. Yet he handled it with clarity and calm.
And there we found the individual who was in the process of giving birth, and some pretty significant pain, obviously from childbirth. And first question I asked was, do you think you can make it to the hospital? But she was like, no, the baby's coming. And so at that point, we prepared to give birth.
In a basement filled with people, including family and members of the sheriff's department, he managed to block them all out and focus on the mother, helping her through contractions.
And you see the head, and you're like, oh yes, so here it comes. And at that point, out comes the head, and then we noticed that I had noticed the umbilical cord was wrapped just around the child's neck. So that can potentially be a dangerous outcome. And so at that point, I slipped the umbilical cord off around the child's head, and we continued giving birth with no other issues.
The baby was blue, but Snyder and his partner, Joe Gibbs, got her crying and got baby and mom to the hospital.
The emotions came later, but it was a very, I don't want to say anxiety filled in the moment. There was a little anxiety later when I was documenting and kind of realizing, oh my, I really just did that,
In a line of work where one will likely see more death than birth, Snyder is grateful for the experience, crediting education and training as paramount to his success. He's got some ribbing for his role among more senior staff, but he knows it's in fun.
The name after you? Maybe after you?
And he ranks this event in his top 3, with many years ahead for this young man who knows what else the job or life has in store.
It's just another experience in the experience book that I'll remember, and it's a great teaching tool, right? Like I said, it's an event that some people might not experience in their lives, but I was lucky enough to. It's been a good experience for me.
So Ryan did a very good job, and he's a good firefighter and paramedic.
Absolutely. We train for these things, in clinical settings and in classroom settings, but to do it in the field's a whole nother world, and for him to do it and have, a lot of success and everything go well for him, it pays off. He's a very, very good medic that we have, so it's good to see it all.
He's a nice young man too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, but coming up,
we'll revisit how some delicious treats brought the community together.
We're ready for the kids. Here they come. They're coming out. So we're going to give them a tour or let them know what's going on and go from there.
Tail right there. Pull right back to you. Oh, good job. Then you can move it all around. Good job. Get the front door. There you go.
How bad?
Maybe if she gives it to you, you might want it, right?
Grab it. You put it on your shirt. Other way.
You want to take it for a spin around the block?
You want to drive it?
I'm just...
every year Ramsey County acknowledges those who have died in the line of duty.
The Roseville Police Department hosted 2022's annual memorial, inviting families of fallen officers to the ceremony. But at the end of the service, survivors were delighted to meet a young Roseville officer who survived being shot just weeks earlier.
Producer Mary Klein brought us this story.
This is a really important event because it brings all of us together in Ramsey County. And whenever there's a big incident, everybody's got each other's backs.
Many in law enforcement say it's the camaraderie which connects them, a community helping guide officers through the perils of the job, a community which extends to police survivors.
It's events like these, it's like we're back, almost like day one.
These survivors, the families of officers killed in the line of duty, are recognized every year at the Law Enforcement Memorial Service.
Today we stand united in mourning alongside you.
And for Roseville officer Bruce Russell's family, the 40 years since his death haven't eased his absence from their lives.
Remembering, sometimes it just goes to the very fiber of your being and you remember. And Bruce loved his job. He was very proud to be a Roseville police officer.
Among the sense of loss is a sense of hope. Survivors celebrated the appearance by Roseville police officer Ryan Duxbury, who was shot in the face a month earlier.
The nose is where it went. And just
The Roseville Police Department hosted this year's event, and White Bear Lakes Police Department had a real presence representing the Honor Guard and Sergeant Eric Gadboy offering to play taps, having just learned in anticipation of the service.
I have a lot of butterflies right now, yes. It's just one of those things where you only have one chance to get it right. And I don't like to be the center of attention if I can help it.
Roseville Police Chief Erica Scheider talked about Chief Julie Swanson among the first offering her support the night Officer Duxbury was shot.
Chief Swanson has been a mentor to me for a number of years, so really fortunate to have her as a colleague here in Ramsey County. Her two sons work for our department, so there also is that connection as well. And we were really fortunate the night of the incident. I was out of town, unfortunately, but that one of the first calls I received was from Chief Swanson saying, "What can I do to help?" And she immediately responded to the police department and was able to assist until I could get back to the metro area.
She says it's what makes the service extra meaningful, in addition to both honoring those killed in the line of duty and celebrating the lives preserved on April 5th.
I think we all recognize that things could have turned out very differently that night. Thankfully, Officer Duxbury is doing okay, but it kind of makes you pause and realize how tragic this could have been. Not only for him, but for the other officers that responded, to the citizens that were in the residents that were, seeking cover. This impacted a lot of people. So I think the ceremony is, although it's always important to us, this year it certainly holds a special place in our heart.
It's always a really moving event to be part of, and it's important to remember the officers and the family's sacrifices.
Absolutely. 2022 was filled with community events that were, simply put, sweet. Here are some highlights.
Boy, those events, they keep us busy, but they're fun. They're a nice way to get out in the community and for people to talk with us.
Yeah, it is a good time. I know it's always a busy time of year for us just with calls, but we'd rather see people at the events where we can take our time, socialize, and have fun and have good conversations versus where they need
help or something.
They need help
Yeah.
and things aren't going well. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
It is fun. We all need a friend from time to time. Coming up, we'll meet a well-known White Bear Lake resident who's bringing comfort to those in need.
Tracy knows firsthand the benefit the character in our next story brings to those who seek him out.
I sure do. I love him. Let's introduce you to a boy named Bear.
My daughter was the first thing she said. She says, you know something, Dad? She says, they've got a dog over there, and his name is Bear. And I said, no kidding.
For residents of the Pillars in White Bear Lake.
You never get a bacon treat from me, do you?
Yeah. Golden Retriever Bear arrived at just the right time.
He was a hit. He was a hit. And just watching them laugh at him no matter what he did. Like somebody would get on the elevator on the 3rd floor and the door would open and there's Bear on the elevator all by himself.
He makes the rounds by day, visiting residents and guests.
Cute.
And retires to a suite by night, his own little apartment near the front desk. With an ever-changing wardrobe of ties, his routine remains consistent.
Bear wanted to come say hi. And there he comes.
And when resident Elvin Bloom heads down to the gym,
I was so surprised the first day that he got on this treadmill. I couldn't believe it myself.
Bear, reluctant but willing, joins his side as they work out together.
He's pretty good. Sometimes he goes a half an hour.
The management team at Pillars, recognizing the isolation the pandemic was causing seniors, brought Bear into the home.
You love him, don't you? Yes, because he feeds you. I don't.
He's brought comfort and companionship ever since, like the time he laid next to a resident who'd fallen.
That lady was so cute. She said, am I feeling a dog right next to me? And I said, Bear's laying next to you. She said, oh my gosh.
And allowing himself to be held by a woman who'd lost her husband.
She just reached out and grabbed him and just collapsed into him, and it was pretty cool. And he didn't move. He just stayed there. It was really neat.
To many here, Bear is a piece of their past, a reminder of time gone by.
Well, when I was home on the farm, I had dog, yeah. I had a German Shepherd.
And to visitors like Officer Tracy Menarchek, he's a symbol of unconditional acceptance when her calls take an emotional toll.
We're here to help people. Sometimes people don't want our help, or half the people involved want our help and the other half don't. But when you're with someone like Bear, who just doesn't care about any of that, doesn't care about what I do for a living, doesn't care about all the stuff that I see.
Bear, who in fairness is motivated by a never-ending distribution of treats, does seem to have the gift of being just where he's needed most.
He's just everywhere in the building, and he's just such a presence, and they just love it. Oh, that is a face.
And Bear's a little stinker too. He knows where all the food is, and everybody loves Bear because he's got such a handsome little face. So they all give him treats.
Well, that's good. I'm sure he's happy about that.
Yes.
Market Fest is a White Bear Lake tradition, and Public Safety Night has become part of that tradition.
Here's a look at why residents are drawn to the event.
It's a long ways up. It's pretty cool because like right here, if you went all the way to the top, you can see Minneapolis and St. Paul.
The intersection, the car that's all we're going to cut out.
This community is incredible. Our chief and everything, the stuff we've done with
our community events and connecting with the community. Everyone seems to have a positive attitude with us.
We're out to kind of be the real face behind the phone. It's like we are humans and we want to make contact with other humans that we help. So happy to be here.
So far, it's been a pretty positive experience. I've really learned a lot about getting into law enforcement with him, so it's been a good experience with the White Bear Police Reserve.
We've got a great community in downtown White Bear, and so happy that we can share it with everyone.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Pretty cool.
You have a great day and Merry Christmas.
And we're already looking forward to the next upcoming Public Safety Night, which is
July 13th.
July 13th. So put that on your calendar. Come out
Yep.
and see us.
It will be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Many of these celebrations could not happen without volunteers.
The police and fire departments rely on volunteers, especially members of CERT. And this fall, we featured a fixture on the volunteer scene. Here's his story.
And we've been having the neighborhood night out for 30 plus years.
White Bear Lake resident Kevin Schmidt has been opening his doors to neighbors for decades.
The neighbors love it.
It's his home on Douglas Lane where we first met, welcoming me and White Bear Lake Police and Fire during Night to Unite.
Officer Tracy's been coming to our house for the parties for a number of years, and when she shows up, it's just a rousing cheers for it.
It's what inspired him to get involved in helping the police department and the community. He's been a member of CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, for 6 years.
Police, drop the gun! Police, drop the gun right now!
And volunteers at countless events, including safety camp, active shooter drills, and the annual bike rodeo.
If they're handing out free helmets, and if one kid who didn't have a helmet, he went off his bike and it prevented him from having brain damage or an injury, or if they fixed the brakes so that they didn't have an accident, that made it all worthwhile.
But his great relationship with police and fire isn't his only inspiration. It's been his wife, Barb, who's led by example over the years, always giving to those in need.
One year for Christmas, all she wanted, she told me, I just want $500. I said, well, you can have $500 whenever you want. It doesn't have to be for Christmas, but I found out from the listing house, she didn't even tell me, she bought 100 $5 gift cards at Burger King, which is right across the street from Listening House, and gave it to Listening House to hand out to anybody who might be having a bad day and would need a hot drink and a sandwich or something.
And when she was diagnosed with cancer on Easter of 2019, the community they'd supported for so long came together to support them.
The CERT team and White Bear Lake Police Department would check in and say, hey, is there anything I can do and anything to help there? They were phenomenal.
Barb passed in 2021, but the house the two shared remains as it was. Reminders of Barb felt throughout the home.
She made this for the state fair. She got a purple ribbon on a needlepoint. It's still sort of a shrine for her in here. We've been slow to take it apart,
And her rescue pups, Ladybug and Juniper, holding court where Barb spent her final days. Her presence remaining so strong, even her voice still greets callers on the answering machine, while the backyard blooms with many of the flowers she'd planted and toiled over, now under the watchful eye of Kevin.
Stunting all the other ones, but now that's okay.
The couple raised 2 kids here, who now raise their father's spirits.
This is a lot of memories in this room.
He says they've been a huge source of comfort, as has the community, offering help just as he's offered time and time again.
When the opportunities came up, it was a good for me to go out and be with people and be involved in these events. It was important to me, and so I knew it was important to her.
Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us.
Make sure to visit our Facebook page, and you can watch episodes of Lake Area Beat on SCC's YouTube page anytime. From all of us here at SCC Studios, Happy New Year.
See you next time.